Then the girl in the corner with the scarlet letter. While you're watching, you may think that she doesn't matter, but no one knows you better.
Hi guys, I'm Jubel Loria and I'm here to give you the summary of chapter 11, which is build a small network. So, the human network examines the features of each layer of the OSI model and operation of the TCP/IP protocols. The next step is to learn how to assemble these elements together in functioning network that can be maintained. So the small network topologies is a typically small business network is shown in the figure. With a small network, the design of the network is usually simple. So the network topologies typically involve a single router and one or more switches. Small network may also have wireless access points. So as for connection to the internet, normally a simple network has a single one connection provided by DSL cable or the Ethernet connection. So when managing the small network requires many of the same skill as required for managing on a larger one. So the troubleshooting for existing equipment is securing devices and information on the network. The next is the device selection for a small network is when the network require planning and design. Planning ensures all the requirement for cost factors and deployment operation that give due considerations. So the cost is to determine by the capacity of the features. The device capacity includes the number of the type of the ports. The another key element affecting cost consideration is the amount of redundancy to create into the network. The speed and the type of the first interface is the number of the type of the ports, router, and the switch critical decision. So the devices that can accommodate increased speed allows the network to evolve without replacing central devices. The expandability is the modular device have expansion slot that provide the flexibility to add new modules as requirement involved. Switches are available with additional port for high-speed uplinks. Care must be taken to select the appropriate modules and interface to specific media. The operating system is to support certain features and services such as security, quality of service, voice over IP, layer 3, switching, network address translation, and the dynamic host configuration protocol. Next is the IP addressing for a smaller network. The IP addressing scheme would be planned, documented, and maintained based on the type of the device receiving an address. So the IP designs are end devices for user, service, and peripherals, hosts that accessible for the internet intermediary devices. To planning the IP addresses scheme, if all server are assigned, those assigned between the range of 50 to 100, and it's easy to identify the server traffic by IP address. So if the addresses for these resources are not planned and documented, not easily controlled, and the random access design blocking access to address is difficult and clients may not be able to locate these resources. Next is the redundancy in a small network. So even a small business often rely heavily on the network for business operation. A failure of the network can be constantly and the high degree of reliability redundancy is required in the network design. The redundancy helps to eliminate the single points of the failure. The redundancy can be accomplished by installing duplicate equipment, but it also accomplished by supplying duplicate network links of the critical areas. The small network typically provides a single exit point toward the internet via one or more default gateways. It may be advisable for a small business to pay a second service provider as backup. Next is the traffic management is that their treatment in the network design, the routers and the switch in the small network should be configured to support real-time traffic such as voice and video in a distinct manner relative to other data traffic. Next, the common application. There are two forms of software program that process that provide access to the network application and the network layer services. The network application is the program used to communicate over the network. The end user application are network over meaning that are able to communicate directly with the lower layers of protocol stack. Next is the application layer service is used to network resources like transport or network print spoiling, transparent to employee. These serves are the programs that interface with the network and prepare data for the transfer. Different types of the data, whether text, graphics, or video, require different network services to ensure that they are properly prepared. So each application which define the standards in the data formats to be used would have a common way to format the direct data. Next, the common protocols is the involved with the network protocols. Network protocols support application services used by the employees. These network protocols comprise the foundational toolset and professional. Each these network protocols defines process on either of a communication session, types of message, syntax of the message, meaning and informational fields, how messages are sent and expected, interaction with the network layer. So the voice video application is to communicate with customer business partner. The infrastructure is the real-time application. Infrastructure must accommodate the characteristics of each type of the traffic. The VoIP converts analog into digital IP packets that is attached between the traditional analog phone and the Ethernet switch. The VoIP is much less expensive than an integrated IP telephony solutions. So, for example, with the Skype and non-interface version of the Cisco WebEx, the IP telephony itself performs voice to IP conversions. The IP phones used to dedicate server for a call controlling signal. The real-time application is the transport protocol. The transport control protocol are two protocols that support requirement. The RTP and the RTCP enable to control the scalability of the network resourcing by allowing quality of services. Next is the small network growth, and their network must grow accordingly, have enough lead time to make intelligent decision without growing the network in the line. The several elements are required: network documentation, physical and logical topology, device inventory, list of the devices that used to compromise the network budget, including physical year equipment, purchasing budget, traffic analysis is the respective traffic requirement should be documented. Next is the protocol analysis. As the network grows, it's important to understand the type of the traffic is crossing the network as well. So to determine the traffic flow patterns, it is important to capture traffic during peak utilization times to get the good representations of the different traffic types. Perform the capture of the different network segment and local to particular segment. The information gathered in protocol analyzer as well as the type of the traffic being sent. This can be done by redundancy and unnecessary traffic flow of changing flow. So the traffic accommodates the growth needs at other times. Optimizing the network performance requires major network design interventions. Next, in the employee network utilization, as shown, a small network administrator and has ability to obtain in-person IT snapshots. These snapshots typically include information such as OS and OS version, network application, CPU utilization, drive utilization, RAM utilization. So for employees in a small group over a period of time will go a long way toward informing a network administrator involving protocol requirements. Next is the types of threats. The individuals and organizations alike depend on their unauthorized person that can result in costly. So attacks of the network can be devastating and can result in loss of the time of money damage. So in the software vulnerabilities, hardware attacks are through guessing someone's username and password. Next is the physical security and equality important. An attacker can deny the use of the network resources if those resources can be physical compromised. The four classes of physical threat are hardware threats, server routes, switches, cabling plant, environmental threats, extreme or humidity extreme, electrical threats, voltage spikes, efficiency supply voltage, maintenance stress, handling or key electric components, lack of critical spare parts, poor cabling, and poor labeling. Next is type of vulnerabilities is that includes routers, switches, desktop servers, and even security devices. There are three primary vulnerabilities or weaknesses. The technological, as shown in Figure 1, the configurations in Figure 2, the security policy in Figure 3. So that's all guys, the summary of Chapter 11.